Hello everyone, welcome to IP Study video lectures. Today we will discuss grade 8 science chapter Health, the Ultimate Treasure. In this chapter we will discuss about health, ways to stay healthy, sign and symptoms, diseases, prevention of diseases and treatment of diseases. Whenever we say a person is healthy, what measures we consider there, or what are the things we observe to find a person is healthy? If I say a person is not having any illness, like not showing any sign of fever or vomiting or any pain anywhere in the body, so can I say that person is healthy? Let's find it out. Check the case of Rahul, who always found making friends challenging. He's not that much friendly that he can be friendly to any person. Since the first grade, he spent most of his time with his best friend called Shahid. When Shahid's family moved to a new city, Rahul had difficulty making new friend, and for a long time period, he had no friend in his class or in his neighborhood. Soon, he started feeling loneliness and he suffered headaches, weight loss and sleeplessness. Also, he lost some appetite. Concerned for this well-being, his parents sought help from the school counselor, and eventually Rahul began to form new friendships, new friends, and his health started recovering. So what we are observing here? Is he having fever? Is he showing any, complaining about any body ache? Or is he having any infection in the body? No. But still, Rahul was not healthy when he was not making any friends, or he was not interacting, or he was not being active. So here we can conclude that health is the overall well-being of the mental state and physical state, also the social state of any person. How the person is acting with other people in the surrounding. That is also part of the good health. According to WHO, health can be defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Then we say a person is completely a healthy person. Ways to stay healthy. How can we stay healthy? First is maintain a healthy lifestyle. What we can do to maintain a healthy lifestyle? We can maintain our diet. Means we can choose a balanced nutrition in our diet. So what we can do for that? Already we studied this in the previous grades, that a balanced diet contains all types of food materials in our meal in the proportion that our body requires. This can vary from person to person. So this proportion individually depends on the lifestyle, habits and the state of health of a person. Regular physical activities. These are also necessary to maintain a good health. If a person is having balanced diet based on his lifestyle but not doing any physical activity, even not moving for certain distances or for a short time period throughout the day, so that person will start showing some signs and symptoms of illness, or we can say that will be no more healthy in a short time period. So what a person can do? A person can adopt some physical activities like running, jogging, any type of sports activity, preferably an outdoor activity, so that they can maintain their good health. Also, they can practice pranayam, means some breathing exercises, and yoga. This will help them to maintain good health. So physical activities help our body in numerous ways. How? Builds strong bones and muscles, enhances mental clarity and emotional well-being, boosts your immune system's ability to fight diseases, and helps maintain a healthy weight. So if I am saying here it is giving you mental clarity and emotional well-being, means it is helping you to release some hormones in your body which are regulating other organ system in your body and helping you to see and observe things with more clarity and helping you to make more decisions clearly. Mental and emotional well-being. When we are having good meal, our body is getting proper nutrition, we are doing some exercises to keep our body function properly, we feel healthy. But there are certain criteria which can affect your health in this case as well. For example, how much time you are spending on the screen, on the television, on the computers, laptops or telephones or mobile phones. So whatever content you are observing or seeing, that is also affecting your mental health. So what we can do here, first of all, reduce your screen time and then choose the right kind of content that you are observing. For example, watch something which is helping you to think in the right direction or good direction. To improve mental health, some strategies for maintaining mental health includes practicing yoga for the mind, body and soul, engaging in regular meditation or breathing exercises like pranayam, maintaining healthy relationships with your family and friends, taking regular breaks from screen and digital devices, pursuing creative hobbies and interests, and get enough sleep to help your mind and body relax. So when we are pursuing hobbies, so we should choose for the creative hobbies where you are creating something new and learning something. Avoiding harmful substances. What are these harmful substances? Children should not be exposed to harmful substances like drugs, because these harmful substances affect your mental health, also your physical health. So whenever you are introduced to such kind of substances, clearly say no to these substances, because if you start taking these substances, these will start affecting your lungs, liver, brain and overall body. Also, you can avoid tobacco, alcohol if these are introduced to you. Keeping the environment clean is also helpful here to maintain your health. What is the environment made up of here? What are the factors which are affecting your health in the environment? Like the air and water quality and the sanitation in your surrounding. So whenever we are talking about the air quality, we check air quality index. In the metropolitan cities where more industries, more traffic and more people are there, it is observed that AQI level of such kind of cities is very high. Means there are more pollutants in the air. So how does this kind of AQI affect your body? Inhaling the pollutant rich air affects your respiratory system. It causes you respiratory diseases like asthma and bronchitis. It also affects your heart functioning and resulting into heart problems, cardiovascular diseases, reduced lung function, lung capacity to inhale the exhale air, and especially in children, and increased susceptibility to infection. Water safety. Like air, water is also a necessity. What kind of water? Pure water and clean water. Drinking contaminated water can make us sick. We can suffer with various waterborne diseases like cholera and typhoid. So what is pure water? Pure water has no impurities into that, means there is no soluble or insoluble material present in the water. Also, no germs are introduced to the water. What is contaminated water? Contaminated water may have some soluble, means some impurities which are dissolved, or some impurities which are suspended, which are not dissolved in the water. Also, disease causing germs can be present in the contaminated water. How can we avoid the disease due to contaminated water? For that, we can boil water. We can boil water before drinking that. Store the water in clean containers so that we can stay healthy. Sanitation and personal hygiene. What is sanitation and personal hygiene? Maintaining the good hygiene means keeping your surroundings and your body clean. So whenever we are talking about sanitation and personal hygiene, we ensure that our surroundings are clean. Also, we are taking care of our body. How can we do this? Wash your hand frequently with soap and water after at least for 20 seconds. Keep your surroundings clean and free from stagnant water to avoid breeding of the flies and mosquitoes. Maintain personal cleanliness through bathing. Ensure proper storage of food and proper food preparation techniques. Use clean and safe drinking water. Sign and symptoms of any disease. Sign and symptoms are observed to treat any disease, to identify the disease and to start the treatment of that disease. What are signs and what are symptoms? Symptoms are what we feel and experience personally. For example, pain and discomfort, fatigue and unusual tiredness, nausea and dizziness, change in appetite and sleep patterns, and mood swings or emotional disturbances. These are the some symptoms that the person is not fit, the person is not healthy. Signs are objective indicators that others observe and measures so that the certain disease can be treated. What are these? The fever, which means elevated body temperature. The body temperature rises, showing that it is fighting any infection in the body or any discomfort in the body. Rashes or changes in skin appearances. Swelling in any part of the body means inflammation. Changes in vital signs like blood pressure and the heart rate, and visible changes in behavior and appearance of a person. So, after understanding the symptoms or after observing the symptoms, we approach a doctor and explain our symptoms. Then, doctors identify the signs, they observe the sign in the body, and then they come to the conclusion or diagnose any disease. After diagnosing the disease, we can classify the disease as communicable or non-communicable disease. Let's understand what is a disease. It's a condition in which a body is not functioning properly or different organ systems in the body are not functioning properly. These diseases can be classified as communicable and non-communicable diseases. Communicable means a disease which can transfer from an unwell person to a healthy person. This is often transferred from person to person through pathogens. What are pathogens? These are fungi, protozoa, worms, bacteria and viruses which cause disease in a person, and they can be transferred from one person to other person through different agents. What are these agents? These agents can be water, food, insects like flies and mosquitoes, and a direct contact between a healthy person and a sick person, or sharing the clothes or handkerchiefs or other materials between these people. Modes of transmission. Modes of transmission means how the disease is transferred from one person to other person. It can be through air. In that case, we say that these diseases are transferred through air, and these diseases are airborne diseases. through contaminated food and water. Contaminated means the food and water has germs or it is introduced with the cause of the disease. In that case, we call it contaminated food or water. Direct physical contacts, like if a sick person is making direct contact, skin to skin contact, like shaking hands or touching each other, touching a healthy person, in that case we say it is making a direct contact. And indirect contact, like you are sneezing in a room and other people in the surrounding are catching the same infection through the air, or you are sharing your handkerchiefs, you are sharing your water bottles, you are sharing your lunch boxes, etc. So, disease can be transmitted by vectors, means these germs or pathogens. Pathogens means the virus, bacteria, protozoa, etc. These can be carried by a living being. That living being is the vector here, like the mosquito and flies. So, in some cases, human beings also act like a vector. So, majorly, communicable diseases are classified into different groups, like diseases spread through air. For example, common cold, which is also known as influenza, which mainly affect your respiratory tract. Chickenpox, which affects your respiratory tract and skin. Measles, again affect your skin and respiratory tract. Tuberculosis affects your lungs. COVID-19 affected your respiratory tract. Second group is diseases spread through food and water, like hepatitis A, which affects your liver, cholera, which affects your intestine, typhoid, which affects your intestine again. Another group is diseases spread by animals, like means vectors. So, malaria, which is spread by a female Anopheles mosquito, which carries a protozoa, a pathogen in its body, and when it is biting any healthy person, it is transferring that pathogen, means protozoa, into the bloodstream of the person. Then that protozoa reproduce in the bloodstream and makes the person sick. It affects your liver and red blood cells. Dengue similarly is transferred by a vector called the Aedes mosquito. Again, female Aedes mosquito bites a person and infects the person with a virus which is causing the dengue fever. It affects your immune system and bloodstream. Rabies is carried by animals like monkey, dogs, bats, cats, etc. When these animals scratch you or bite you, they transfer the virus of rabies into your body. That's why it is suggested that always the pet animal should be vaccinated against the rabies. Also, we should avoid any direct contact with the stray animals to avoid such kind of infection. Diseases spread through direct contact. When we are making the direct bodily contact with any person, it can transfer ringworm, which is a skin infection which causes itchiness and spots or rashes on the skin. It's a mainly kind of fungal infection. Conjunctivitis, it can be caused by virus or bacteria. It affects your eyes. It can be transferred by making contact with the person who is infected, and when we are touching our face, we are touching our eyes, we transfer that infection to our body system. Diseases caused by parasites, parasites like worm. What are parasites? These are the living things which get nutrition from another living being called the host. Ascariasis is caused by a parasite called roundworm, which lives in the intestine of the patient and gets the nutrition from the patient. Next is filariasis, also known as elephantitis. In this case, the foot of the suffered person becomes very swelled and it makes it difficult for that person to move. It is spread by filarial worm and affects your lymph vessels, lymph system. Teniasis again infects your intestine and causes you stomach ache. It gets your nutrition, and it is caused by the tapeworm, which grows into your intestine. Next group of disease is non-communicable disease. Non-communicable disease means which cannot be spread from one unwell person to another healthy person. These affect an individual person due to their improper lifestyle or habits. So, what are non-communicable diseases? These are also called the chronic diseases such as diabetes, cancer, asthma. They persist for the longer time period. They affect an individual person. It is not affecting any other person in the surrounding. Let us find out about such diseases. One is lifestyle related diseases, means which are caused due to improper lifestyle, like diabetes. According to Indian Council of Medical Research, we have more cases of diabetes in India nowadays. Why? Because we are not following a proper lifestyle. Heart disease, often related to lack of exercise, smoking, stress and poor diet, which is causing stress on the heart. Hypertension, high blood pressure, which is also known as the silent killer because it is not showing any symptom or sign. So, it is affecting your heart and it can cause the failure of the heart. Obesity, with 28.6 Indians classified as obese. Why? Even if we are having the proper nutrition, if we are not doing any physical activities, we are spending more time on the screen, so we will be obese, or we are not getting the improper balanced diet. We are having more fried food, more fast food, more carbohydrate and fat rich food in the diet. Second is environmental diseases. Exposure to harmful environment. Harmful environment means an environment which has pollutant in it. It can also cause various health problems such as respiratory conditions, skin disorders and cancers. It is observed that people working in industrial areas where lot of pollutants are present in the atmosphere, in the air, they suffer with respiratory conditions. Also, people working with chemicals show some sign of skin cancer. At the same time, people those are consuming contaminated and pollutant food or water, they also can suffer such kind of diseases. Cancer are linked to exposure to harmful chemicals like asbestos or radiation. Deficiency diseases. In our diet, if we are lacking certain nutrients, that can cause a deficiency of that nutrient, resulting into a deficiency disease. For example, anemia caused due to the deficiency of iron, scurvy due to deficiency of vitamin C, rickets due to deficiency of vitamin D, and goiter due to deficiency of iodine. Mental health disorder. Mental health is crucial part of our overall well-being, means overall health. These are medical conditions that affect person's emotions, thoughts and behavior. Common examples are depression and anxiety, stress-related disorders, eating disorders and sleeping disorders. Next is prevention of diseases. How can we prevent a disease? It is always said that prevention is better than cure. We can prevent a disease and we can avoid the effort for treating any disease or the suffering due to a disease. How can we do that? First, community preventive measures. We need to follow some measures in the community. What are these measures? Like sanitation and waste management. If we keep the surroundings clean, we dispose the waste properly, we ensure that waste is handled properly, we can ensure our surroundings will be cleaner. For this, India has started Swachh Bharat mission which ensure that each part of the country, every village, town, city of the country is aware about the management of the waste, and all the waste produced in the country is collected and recycled if it can be recycled, or it can be decomposed, or it can be destroyed or discarded in a way that it is not harmful for the environment. Next is vector control. How can we control the vectors? Do not let the waste collected in any neighborhood, and do not let the water being stagnant in any neighborhood, because such kind of environment attracts fleas and mosquitoes, and they breed in these environment. Health education, awareness campaigns about disease prevention, healthy lifestyle choices, and early warning signs of illness help the community to identify the signs and symptoms of the disease, and help them to be aware and understand the causes of the disease and the prevention of the disease, so that they can make the healthy choices about their health. Next is immunity. Immunity means the ability of your body to fight against any disease. There are two types of immunities: innate immunity, and second one is acquired immunity. Innate or natural immunity is the type of immunity which is present in any person or any living being when at the time of its birth. Acquired immunity is the immunity that we gain from our surrounding. We grow and our body learn to fight these infections in the surroundings. How can we do this? We get this whenever we are exposed to any infection. In that case, our body try to fight that infection, and it produces antibodies in our body. Also, some memory cells which memorize the way of fighting to that infection and how can our body overcome that infection. That memory cells again comes in action and produces antibodies whenever the same infection occurs in the future. We can do it intentionally by introducing the body with vaccine. The process is called vaccination. So, whenever the vaccine is injected in our body or it is introduced to the body, this is called vaccination. How it is done? A weak strain of any infectious agent or infectious pathogen like the virus or bacteria, it is introduced into the body intentionally through the injections, and then our body start reacting against it. It makes antibodies and memory cells, and as it is the weaker strain, it is the weak infection, our body can overcome that infection and memorize the technique of fighting that infection. In the future, if we are getting infection with a stronger strain of the same pathogen, so what happens? Our body identifies that pathogen, produces the antibodies which are required to fight that infection because of the memory cells, and help us to fight the disease. Another way of fighting any disease is treating the disease. So, once vaccines are done and still we are getting the infection, then comes the treatment. So, till the vaccination, till the community cleanliness and sanitation, we were trying to prevent the disease only. If we have the infection or we get the disease, what we can do? We can go for the treatment of that disease. In case of the infections, like the infections from the bacteria, what we are doing? We are giving antibiotics to a person. What are these antibiotics? These are chemical substances which enters into your body and fight against the pathogen which is causing the disease in the body, or it is interrupting the life cycle of that pathogen in the body so that it cannot infect your body anymore. So, what are the some important things while taking any antibiotics so that your body is not becoming resistant to that antibiotic? Antibiotics have been successful in saving millions of lives. However, the misuse or overuse is giving us adverse effect of the same thing. How? When these are misused or overused, they led to a serious problem called antibiotic resistance. This occurs when bacteria evolve and develop the ability to survive the antibiotics or exposure to the antibiotics once killed by them. Means when you are using antibiotics, they are fighting against the infection. If we are not following the right medication, means right doses of antibiotics, by skipping the doses or overusing the doses or without consulting the doctor, in such case the antibiotics cause adverse effect on our health by making the bacteria resistant to the same antibiotic. So bacteria develops antibiotic resistance due to the following reasons. Taking antibiotics when not needed. Like we have fever and we self-diagnose the disease without consulting the doctor and we start taking antibiotics. So what is happening? Our body doesn't need that antibiotics, but still our memory cells are fighting against that and they become resistant against the antibiotic. Excessive use of antibiotics in the livestock and agriculture. While producing the food, if we are using such kind of chemical substances to fight the diseases in plants unnecessarily, or we are overdosing that antibiotics, it is accumulated in our body. Our body is also memorizing that antibiotics, and at the time of infection, we become resistant against that antibiotics. Inadequate hygiene in healthcare settings. Even if we are taking antibiotic, we are following the course, but we are not maintaining the personal hygiene and the environmental hygiene. So we are constantly in contact with the cause of disease. We are in contact with the pathogen. So that's why it also affects the immunity of our body and build up our antibiotic resistance. So what is happening during this process? A few bacteria develop resistance to antibiotics when these are exposed to the antibiotics in our body, and some good bacteria also die during the process. Antibiotic resistant bacteria produce their own kind and they increase their number if we do not follow the right way of taking any antibiotic, and this causes the increase of resistance bacteria in our body. So although this situation is causing stress, there are certain means to prevent the evolution of bacteria which are resistant to the antibiotics. What are these methods? Use antibiotics only when prescribed by a qualified health professional, qualified doctor. Do not self-diagnose your diseases and do not start taking antibiotics whenever you want. Complete the entire course of antibiotics. If you are asked to take the antibiotics for 5 days, 2 times a day, just follow the instruction. Do not take it for only the 3 days. Suppose after 3 days you are not having sign of infection or you are not having vomiting or fever, do not conclude that you have overcome the infection. You need to take the dose for the 5 days as prescribed. Or even if after the 5 days you are having fever, do not start taking the dose again or do not repeat the doses without consulting the doctor. Never share antibiotics with others or save leftover antibiotics. You do not need to purchase any amount of antibiotics and save it for the future. It is not like that you can take any antibiotic in any infection. There is a certain antibiotics given in for certain treatment of certain infections or certain diseases. Practice good hygiene and prevent infections. So repeatedly we are saying that practice good hygiene means it is very much essential to maintain personal hygiene and community hygiene to prevent any disease, also to fight the disease during any infection or during any treatment as well. Support responsible use of antibiotics in agriculture. You do not overdose the use of antibiotics while producing the food. Management of disease. How can we manage a disease? Most viral diseases and chronic diseases can only be managed. One of the best way is to take rest, proper nutrition and stay hydrated. It has been observed whenever a person is sick, that person is isolated from the other family members or from the other groups of the people. Why it is done? Isolation prevents the infection or transmission of the disease from that person to the other people, first thing. Second, the infected person or the person who is suffering from the disease should get proper rest and proper diet and proper treatment against the disease. Dietary changes to support manage symptoms. Do not just keep consuming the fast food or fried food during the treatment or when you are sick. Your body is already under the stress when you are suffering from a disease. At that time, you should have a meal which can be easily digested by your body, and also it provides the micronutrients like minerals and vitamins which prevent the diseases. Regular physical activities appropriate for the condition. If you are not well, do not just go for any exercises. We know that exercises are required there to maintain your health, but when you are sick, you need more rest. And when you are recovering from the disease, consult your doctor before starting any kind of exercises. Medicines to control symptoms and slow disease progression. Always consult a doctor, the certified practitioner before starting a treatment. Do not self-diagnose or self-treat your diseases. Regular monitoring to adjust doses and assess effectiveness. Again, do not make your decision to increase your dose or reduce your doses. You need to consult the changes in your signs and symptoms with the doctor so that they can decide whether you need to follow the same treatment or the treatment need to be changed or it need to be stopped. So, by understanding the concept of health and the prevention and treatment of the diseases, we can maintain a good health. Also, we can create the awareness in the community to keep your surroundings clean and maintaining good health choices. Good health choices means good daily life practices. We can avoid the diseases and we can maintain the good health. That's it for the day. See you with the next episode. Thank you.